Okay, here we go. This is Algebra 2, 1.2, solving inequalities. We're starting on the back page here today. First couple here are just solving simple inequalities without graphing. So we're just going through the motions of actually solving for x here. And we just have to do this exactly the same way we would with an equation, right? We're going to add 7 on both sides, and we're left with 2/3 x is greater than 30. All right, and so our goal always is to get the coefficient in front of the variable equal to 1, right? If I had a simple equation like 2x is equal to 10, well, I don't want to know what 2x's are, I just want to know what 1x is. So I divide by 2 and I get 1x is equal to 5, right? So that's the same goal here, and so how we can do that is by multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, so if I multiply by the reciprocal, I'm going to get 3 times 2 and 2 times 3, which would be 6/6, which reduces down to 1. Okay, so we have 1x. Another way to think about this is these would cross cancel and it would just be 1 and 1. Okay, so we just remember when you have a fraction like that, just multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, and then if we do it to one side of the inequality, we have to do it to the other side. So we're going to do 30 times 3, which is 90, divided by 2, which is 45. So we get x is greater than 45. Okay, and you could use your calculator. There's that n over d key. If you're not comfortable with multiplying fractions, just go ahead and use your calculator for that. All right, so number 5, x is greater than 45. Number 6, we've got, so how would I solve this? If it were a normal equation, I would get rid of this 6. So I'd subtract 6, subtract 6 on the other side, and I'm left with negative 4x is less than or equal to 4. And I want to divide by negative 4 to get x equal to 1. And I'm left with x is, now this is really important here, I'm going to put a little asterisk here. We have to remember this little note that I'm going to have you guys write down. All right, if you multiply or divide by a negative to solve an inequality, you must switch the sign. Okay, you absolutely have to remember this. You must switch the signs. So for this one here, it was x was less than or equal to. Now we're going to change this to greater than or equal to, and positive 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. All right, super important. Make sure you write this down in your margins. You definitely want to remember that. Okay, last thing for this unit is solving compound inequalities. This is a little tricky to some students, but um, you just have to remember to solve it the exact same way you would a normal equation. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this on the bottom here. And just remember, if you do something, just think about these as like two different equations, like the same laws apply, right? So if I want to isolate this variable, okay? So if I want to get this 6k by itself, I need to add 3. Okay, and just like how we say if you do it to one side of the equation, you got to do, or one side of the equal sign, you have to do it to the other side. We have to do it to each side of the inequality. So I need to add 3 here and add 3 here. Okay. So now what I'm left with is, let's see, negative 33 plus 3. I'm going to be at negative 30. Okay. Put this sign down. Then I'm going to have just 6k left in the middle because this will cancel out. And then on this side, I'll have 60. All right, so now if I want to get 1k, I'm going to divide by 6, and I just have to remember to do it to all sides. Okay, so I'm left with negative 5 and positive 10. Okay, so then we can just go ahead and follow our steps from before, right? We circle the numbers that we're comparing. So I got -5 here and +10 here, which looks like I have to go off the graph a little bit. Here's 9, here's 10. All right, and then the step 2, we got to determine if it's an open or closed circle. There's lines under both of these inequality symbols, so I'm going to go ahead and fill them both in. And now we just have to draw the arrow. So let's see, k is greater than -5, and k is less than +10. Okay, so if you want to have to do if you have to do this kind of one by one, that's okay. So k is greater than -5, so bigger numbers are to the right, so you might want to just go a little bit, and then check this one, k is less than 10. Okay, so this is going to be all values in between. Okay, so k just has to be contained in this range. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Let's do 8. So we got -13. I'm just going to rewrite this. 5 minus 2v is less than or equal to 7. So the first thing I want to do, I want to get this -2v by itself. So I need to get rid of this +5. So I need to subtract 5. And if I do it, and if it helps to draw the lines, you can go ahead and do that. You don't have to. So I'm going to subtract 5 on all sides. And I'm left with -18, -2v, and +2. So now we go ahead and we divide by -2, divide by -2, divide by -2. Now we get +9, but remember, I always put like an asterisk by it because it reminds me to do the note that I mentioned before. So I have to switch the sign. So this now has to become greater than or equal to symbol. Okay, and then this one also we need to switch as well. All right, -2 divided by -2 is +1, so we got +1v, and +2 divided by -2 is -1. Okay, so there we go. We've got our inequality. Now we just got to plot this out. Again, we're going off the graph a little bit, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9, circling it. Here's -1, circling it. Determine if it's open or closed. Lines are under both of them, so we're going to go ahead and close them up. Okay. And let's see. V is less than 9. So less than, if the V's are smaller than 9, they're going to be going this way. And let's see, V is greater than -1. So it looks like it's going to be, again, kind of contained in this range again. Okay. All right, let's do a couple more of these. You might have where it's not in one statement, but you just have two different inequalities that you plot on the same line. So we have, well, let's see, 1 minus x is less than or equal to -6, or x minus 4 is less than or equal to -9. So we can just go ahead and solve these like we normally would. So let's do that first. We got, we want to get this -x by itself, so I want to subtract 1. I do it on one side, I got to do it to the other. So I'm left with -x is less than or equal to -7. And I want to divide by -1. Divide by -1. So I'm left with x is, got to remember, put my little asterisk by it to remind myself that I have to switch the sign. All right, so I'm going to get x is greater than or equal to -7 divided by -1 is going to be +7. And now we can do the other one. So looks like this one is a really easy one. All we have to do is add 4 on both sides. All right, so I'm left with x is less than or equal to -5. Okay, so this one we got just two inequalities we're going to plot on the same line. So I'm going to circle 7. I'm going to circle -5. Determine if they're open or closed. Lines under both, so we're going to go ahead and close them both. And now we draw our lines. So it looks like x is going to be greater than 7. Okay, so it's bigger than 7, right? The mouth is eating the x. That means it's bigger than 7. Bigger numbers are to the right. Okay, x is less than or equal to -5. The mouth is eating the -5, right? So that means x must be smaller. Smaller numbers are to the left. Okay, so this is one of those either or. And so anytime you see this or, you're going to have these opposite facing arrows, right? It really wouldn't make sense to have a problem like this up here be an either or thing, right? All right, last problem, and then you guys can tackle some of these practice problems. I'm going to zoom in here. So let me just rewrite this problem. We've got negative. I'm going to just put -1 there. I'm going to distribute out the -1 here. Greater than or equal to -5. Okay, so the first thing here, and just so I know I mentioned before that we just want to switch the signs, but I'm going to go through and just go ahead and multiply the -1. So we have -1 times +1, that's -1. -1 times -8, that's +8. And drop down this greater than or equal to symbol and distribute this out as well. So -5 times 4 is 20, and -5 times 2n is -10n, and drop down this 1. All right, so I want to get rid of I want to get the variables on one side first. And so I want to get rid of the smaller of the two variables. So -8 is smaller than -10 is smaller than +8. So I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm going to add 10 n's here, add 10 n's here. So I should just be left with -1 plus 18n is greater than or equal to 20 plus 1. Now let's just go ahead and skip a step and do, oh sorry, this is -20, sorry, -5 times 4, -20 plus 1, that's going to be -19. Sorry about that, guys. Did you see that I forgot to put that negative there? So I had -20 plus 1, I get -19. Okay, so now I just need to solve this just like I normally would. I want to add 1 on both sides, and now it's starting to look like it's going to solve nicely. I get -18, and last I just have to divide by 18. All right, we get n is greater than or equal to -1. Okay, just plot that out. Circle the number that you're comparing. Determine if it opened or closed. It is closed because the line's underneath. And the mouth is eating the n. That means it's bigger than -1. Bigger numbers are to the right. Okay. That's it. I know it seems like a lot, but it's a lot of this is kind of very similar to solving equations. And if you follow those steps, if you talk through the plotting, I think it really does make it quite easy. So you guys can give all the practice problems. There's only 18 practice problems for this week. So give those a shot, and I will make a video later this week helping you guys out with those. All right, later.